You're watching the Nation Network with your host, Vince McSham. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nation Network. And just moments ago, we saw the big show from Jeddah over in Saudi Arabia, and it was indeed a night of champions. Shit went down, got serious. I had a feeling this could be a decent show. It turned out to be a decent show, and if you're a Saudi fan that was actually there, hey, guess what? Nobody tore a tricep or a bicep in the early rounds. Nobody had a concussion and cut the match 12 minutes short. Everything pretty much went the way I guess it was supposed to go. There were a couple of things that I didn't foresee happening, but at the same point in time, that's why we watch this stuff. So without any further ado, let me, of course, introduce my sidekick, my companion, the guy who generally comes in here and tries to keep me in line, even though he can't do it. This is the one, the only J-Rocks.
The Robin to your Batman.
There you go. With a King Kong Bundy look going on today, buddy.
I know. Been out working today, so it's too nice to be in a full T-shirt and everything.
I got you. All right. I presume you watched.
In between planting plants and stuff like that, yeah, I had it on. I listened to most of it through the earbud, but when I heard the crowd go crazy, I'd turn over real quick and see what the fuck was going on. So,
yeah, it was a night to say the least. So
I have to. I mean, yeah. after what I said last night, I have to admit, I'll admit when I was wrong. It was a really good show. I was impressed. Now, if only they could keep the TV going along with what they do on the PLEs, we'd be in heaven. But hey,
this is the whole secret. This is the secret. I learned it a long time ago. You just watch the big card events. Okay, that's it. Because they are going to put the little packages together before each match, and they will edit them so nicely that it looked like when it really happened, it didn't suck.
Right.
And you're not watching 2 to 3 hours a night of the stuff that probably kind of sucks, but they made it look much better in the package at the end. So I've been doing that for the longest time, and I find it works out really well for me and saves me so much time of watching television. I was shocked to find out that the curtain jerk is going to be for this glorious brand new World Heavyweight Championship.
If you ever want to make a world championship look like a secondary title, that's the way to do it.
I'm like, really? The Vince McMahon crest and this and that, and it's the opening match.
They could at least put it like second to third from the end or something.
I mean, if that wasn't the place for Trish, I don't know what was.
Right.
I mean, she's past her prime. The female in Saudi Arabia, so you ain't gonna get but so much. I don't know. I just don't know. But anyway, no big surprise. Seth freaking Rollins got the win over AJ Styles. I think we all pretty much saw that coming.
Right.
It wasn't the match to me that I think a lot of people were anticipating it being. I don't feel like that was any 5-star match. It was okay, but it was just okay to me. There was no moment in that match that I cared particularly about.
Well, I look at it this way. If you're going to put the match on in the beginning, why make it a 5-star? Was it solid? Yeah, I'll give it a 3. But I think if they would have put it on later in the show, AJ and Seth probably would have went out there and tore the fucking place up.
See, I'm not going to agree with that because AJ and Seth don't give a shit where you put them on. They want to be the one you're talking about at the end of the night. And there was a recent PLE pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, maybe 2 or 3 ago. I forget what the hell it was. And the opening match was it for the night. I mean, whatever it was, it set the bar and nobody crossed it. I dare say, was it night 1 of Mania? What was the opening match for that? All I know is whatever the hell it was like, well, good luck to the rest of you fuckers because you ain't going to do that. And
it wasn't night 1 of Mania because that was Theory and Cena who started that.
Yeah, that's not going to set no bar. Well, whatever that, there was a recent pay-per-view with the opening match. That was it. It stole the show. Nobody ever touched it the rest of the night. And it's like, damn, that probably wasn't the right place to put that one. But anyway, Seth Rollins comes away with the win. Congratulations. Nobody saw that coming, I'm sure. Then they moved to Trish, who should have had the number one spot. Gets the win over Becky Lynch after we have the interference by Zoe.
Yes, Zoe Stark was the one who interfered. Yep.
I like Zoe's look.
I like her, how she's portraying herself here on the main roster. Kind of taking that. She almost makes me feel like she's trying to be Becky Lynch with the whole leather jacket and the swagger and shit like that. So I think that's kind of where they're going to go with this. Is that's going to be Becky's next big feud is with Zoe. So
see, now I mean, obviously it's obvious to set up a feud that way. I don't see her doing a look-alike in anything like that. I see her more as a street hood type thug.
Well, I mean,
with talent.
Some of her recent promos, she's kind of done the
Irish accent.
Yeah, well, not the Irish accent, but like I'm the end all be all. This, you know, I'm the man, without saying I'm the man. So.
I don't know. Like I said, I find her. She reminds me, if anything, of a younger Rhea Ripley. Not that Rhea's old by any stretch. I'm just saying, like 6 years ago, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I could see that too. And it was nice to use her in this way for people who might not, you know, get her that exposure. So
yeah, she's new to the roster. So it's kind of like what they did with Solo over at Castle.
Yes, exactly.
So I thought it was a good use. I'm glad. I honestly didn't care who won that match. So good for Trish. The match doesn't mean anything. Wasn't particularly great. Trish still looks fucking fantastic. Even in a full-on black leather, full-on black leather, and that's not a bad outfit for Trish to be having. If there's another Catwoman movie coming out, she might have just auditioned. We move on to Gunther. Big surprise getting the win over Mustafa. The only thing that was a surprise is it lasted 8.5 minutes. I didn't think it would.
Yeah, I'm glad they actually gave him some time to do something and not make it a squash.
Well, for what I mean, what's the point in it not being a squash? Just because he's the hometown boy? Because there was no one in that audience that thought he was going to win the Intercontinental title. Even when they tried to false finish and make it look good, you didn't think he was going to.
No, but again, like you said, he was a hometown boy, so at least they allowed him to go out there and do what he does. So
DHW Love Night of Champions. I liked it a lot. I don't know if I'll say I loved it, but I liked it a lot. We move on to Asuka going one-on-one with Bianca Belair for the championship. I'm happy with the outcome. Neil Hooper says finally. Now, I don't know if he was going finally for this or finally for later, but we'll get to both. I said finally to this and posted it right here on Twitter immediately as like, thank you, Jesus. We needed that on somebody else, that title.
Yep.
I didn't like the way he got it.
I did. I thought that was kind of ingenious to spray the mist on her own hand and then blind Bianca with it. How often do you see something?
Sprayed it on her hand and like really smeared it in there, I could have been all right with that. But she barely got like a little finger smudge. You know, it just, the idea was there. The execution wasn't so hot.
Okay.
If she could have gotten a blast of it on her hand. Didn't Kabuki used to do it that way?
He did it a couple times. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I'm not a big Kabuki guy, but I think he would spray the hand occasionally and then go to a brain claw. So now it's right over your.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like the alien after it comes out of your stomach and.
Yeah, he'd kind of turn away from the referee, spray it down on his hand, and then throw the claw on.
So something like that I would have loved. I would have really enjoyed seeing her go with a claw after spraying her hand down. But the two little fingers and just kind of like smudging it, and all of a sudden she's incapacitated. First off, you only got one eye.
Right.
I mean, if this stuff is so venomous that it renders her useless, how are you alive when it's you got a mouthful of this shit? You should be gagging and trying to get your breath about. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if Cornette has the same take. I was
going to say, let's not
him right now.
I was going to say, let's not nitpick. I mean, it could have been their own same boring ending, but at least they tried to do something different. I will give them that.
All right, we'll give them a half a point for trying something different that executed pretty poorly. I'm just happy Asuka's got the title, not the way it ended up. I would like to see a better execution on that finish. Moving on, we're sticking with the ladies. Oh gosh, 3 ladies matches in Saudi.
Yeah.
Who's booking this show? But I'll say Rhea was over, man. They liked Rhea.
Oh yeah. Now that was a squash match.
Yeah, sure was. 1 minute, 10 seconds. Holy shit. The one we thought was going to turn out to be perhaps a surprise show stealer.
And on top of it, it was Natty's birthday, so she gets squashed on her birthday in Saudi. Yes.
Oh. To make the trip just for the 1:10 on your birthday.
Yep.
Wow. I wonder how that conversation went in the back. Hey, we're running long on time.
Hey, give me some money. I'll come over, but
no, I'm saying like before the match, and it's like, hey, we're running long on time. I'm sorry to tell you happy birthday, and you get a minute. Well, the candles will still be burning when you get back, so blow them out when the match is over. You're good.
Right. They won't burn down that far.
Didn't see it coming. I thought it was going to end up being a good match, a 10, 12-minute
back and
forth. And it wasn't even a good squash. That's the thing. You know, she throws her into the stairs a couple times. So what? And then the Riptide, it wasn't really well. It's like she lost a grip on it at one point, and it kind of fought to get her up and landed her down, but not with that oomph that she normally gives it. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm wondering why. I know I like this show because of the last few matches. Or the last 2, I guess. That's what we're down to now, the last 2. Yeah. Brock Lesnar against Cody Rhodes. I think this was more than I could have hoped for. I thought it was the way it starts out. Cody's got the cast on, selling the arm thing. Okay. Early on, he's taking some bumps and stuff, and they even talk about, you know, in wrestling, you throw your arms out to break your fall. That's just the way you do it. And every time he does that, he's smashing his arm. I'm like, okay, interesting that they're kind of, you know, pulling that part of the curtain back. Not that everyone hasn't either seen how wrestlers train by this point in time with Tough Enough and all these other programs that have exposed the backstage part of the business. But you don't normally hear it on commentary. So that was a little bit interesting that they were going in that direction. And then from there, all of a sudden, he hits him with a left hand. Was it the left or the right? Left hand, right?
Yeah, because his right hand's broken.
No, well, that's the one he was hitting him with, the broken hand. I thought it was the left, though. Don't you normally work the left side anyway?
Yeah, he does.
But now I'm
trying to picture it in my head.
On Raw, he held the door when he got, it was his right arm that got crushed by the keg.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to say the right arm. Fuck it. Either way, he ends up throwing a punch instinctively and realizes that when the cast hits Brock, it rocks his world. And of course, it's not just a cast. No, it's a titanium. What was the term they had?
Oh.
It had a really fun name, titanium something or other.
Yeah.
So the titanium connecting with the Lesnar all of a sudden sends him flying out to the floor. And it's like, oh, this is a weapon.
A legal weapon.
And all of a sudden you have an equalizer, because otherwise, how the fuck do you justify beating Lesnar? You can't pull that cheap Mania win again. That's one and done on that.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, starting to hammer away on him with this thing. He goes flying through the ropes and catches him right in the jaw with the thing. I'm expecting Lesnar to start bleeding. That didn't happen. But yeah, they're going back and forth, and he's using that cast for everything he's worth and rocking Lesnar with it. And then Lesnar gets him in the Kimura lock, which I'm thinking, okay, what good is that? He's got a cast on. but he's selling the shit out of it. And I mean, technically, if someone applies that in MMA world and it doesn't get broken quick enough, then I believe it blows the elbow, not the forearm or anything else. It's
yeah, it's your
the elbow.
It depending on how you torque it, it can get your elbow and your shoulder. You can dislocate both of them.
So there's that. And he gets out of it, and they go back and forth. He gets him with the crossroads, gets him with the second crossroads, goes for the trifecta, and that didn't happen.
Right.
And then from there, Brock gets another Kimura lock on, and referee basically determines Cody's out, even though he's not out. He doesn't sell the fact that he blacked out from the pain because he's still there writhing around with the. He never tapped out. Well, you're right. He never tapped out. So why is the match over? Because he's not unconscious. He hasn't been rendered unconscious yet.
Right. It's not like Austin when the sharpshooter was put in and you saw him fade and then was out.
Shamrock had to rip Bret Hart off of him. And there was this moment now where Lesnar's looking back at Cody, and I'm like, oh, here we go. He's going to start beating the holy shit out of Cody. Referee's going to try and break it up. He's going to shove the referee and get disqualified after the match. I thought they were going to give Cody the win by DQ after the fact.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that in decades.
That actually would have been a good ending.
Which is why we can't have it. I mean, back in the day at the Garden, that shit happened on a routine basis.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, Lesnar got the win. And I said yesterday that I was sure he was going to win because he got to get the favor back from Mania. Now, do they do a rubber match? Is there a third? I feel like there has to be.
Probably SummerSlam.
Yeah, and Cody has to go over in that one because he needs that momentum back.
Right.
And that's got to be a win.
And I think the way they're going to push it to SummerSlam is Cody will be in Money in the Bank, and Lesnar will come out and cost him from getting the Money in the Bank, and then that'll push it on to SummerSlam. So.
Well, that would get him there. DH says he gave the first match with Seth Rollins and AJ a 5 stars. I'm not going to go with that at all. For me, that was a 3-star. I give you 3, maybe 3.5. It was okay.
Yep.
Nothing special. What we got here? Hold on. Hoopa. Trish and Becky was a mess until the end. It was actually a mess at the end, too. It wasn't a good match. There's no candy coating it. I mean, Trish's best days are behind her. She's been out of the ring too long. It shows that every match she's had since coming back has not been good. She's also a different generation. She was never trained the way these girls are. She never had a match, with the exception of the Lita thing. But other than that, never had a match like these women have had many times over. And add the age factor. Like I said, she looks gorgeous. But she's too many steps behind to count. That brings us to the tag team title match, which, nothing big there. So we got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And what I always say about any pay-per-view main event, if you know the outcome in advance, then it's not a good match.
Right.
Even though I knew the outcome in advance, as the match was getting ready to start, I was questioning things. I could see Roman with 4 fucking titles on Friday night for the 1,000.
Yeah.
I could see him handing the tag team titles over to the Usos, who weren't in attendance in Saudi Arabia, as a olive branch.
Nah, he wouldn't have handed them over.
You guys just have to maintain it, And even then, it could be some sour grapes, like, fucking win the title for us, shit, And you could have dragged that out for a little bit. All these thoughts are going on in my mind while this match is going until all of a sudden, shocker! This is where Macaulay Culkin's face is appearing on screen. From out of nowhere, Nobody noticed these two guys on the airplane all the way over to Jeddah because I'm sure they had a private flight.
Right.
Jimmy and Jay, the Usos attack. First off, before we get to the attack, let's talk about the early psychology in the match. It really reminded me of some old school shit, and I was getting a kick out of it. Sammy is going to start it off against Roman, and then the crowd's going nuts. They want Sammy. They want Sammy. By the way, what the hell was Sammy wearing to the ring?
He wore it in some of his Twitter pictures when he was out. It has to be some sort of traditional
garb. But who's tradition? This is the guy who didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia all these years. And when I saw him come out in that, I'm like, oh, fuck, there's going to be a riot. Is he dead? And then he starts getting on the mic and talking in Arabic, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, they all knew what the hell he was saying. I have no clue. And who knew he could?
Right.
So then the match starts, and it's Kevin Owens, and the crowd is chanting for Sammy, Sammy, Sammy. And he just looks over to Sammy in the corner, extends the hand. Sammy tags himself in. The place goes nuts. Him and Roman circle. Roman tags out and leaves the ring. And it's like, damn, that is just reeking of old school right there.
Yeah.
Switch. I thought they did.
You can't have me.
Yeah. Just to heat it up for the point in time where they finally are in the ring together.
Oh.
So that was well done. The match itself was great. You know, nobody fucked up anything. And that reminded me, what the hell match? Oh, it was the opening match with Seth. Going back to my friends from Twitter about me commenting on AEW and Jungle Boy and all that shit. You might have realized there was a point in the opening match where AJ dangerously dropped Seth on the apron.
Oh, yes.
And then they show the replay, and he landed perfectly flat on his back. Because they fucking know how to do shit professionally. Because there are leaders there to make sure they're not going to get crippled on TV.
Yeah, what's good is to win a brand new championship and then go, I've got to let go of it because I got hurt.
My mind, man. Whoever wins this thing better not fucking get injured. But again, it looked insane. My first thought was fucking AEW 2.0 over here. Then the replay came on, and it's like, oh, that's the art right there. You made it look a lot worse than it was.
Right.
I thought he was damn near dead. It looked brutal. It looked every bit as brutal as Jungle Boy. The difference is he was perfectly safe.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that I've gotten sidetracked, we're back to the Kevin Owens tag team match there. Back and forth, all that good stuff. Everyone gets their shit in, as they like to say. And then there's a moment in time early on, too, where Roman tagged out and avoided Sammy, and he goes out. And Paul Heyman is avoiding eye contact with the ring, has his back to the ring. Roman's on his left shoulder, and he's not even looking at Roman. And he has this look on his face like something's wrong.
Right.
And this is in the first minute and a half. And for the life of me, I still have to go back and try and figure out what that was all about because I don't know. But it was a little awkward moment. And I'm like, what are we trying to sell this early in the fucking match over here? So then the match continues on, goes back and forth, and then all of a sudden, here come the Usos, and they start waylaying the shit out of Kevin Owens on the floor and slamming him into the table and leaving him for dead. And then they hop into the ring. Sammy's barely up. The two of them on either side of Sammy. Thought you're going to get a double super kick. You don't. You get a single super kick. Sammy doesn't sell and go down from it. Ooh. There was another match I was going to mention earlier on. Might have been the Gunther, where there was a lot of no-selling shit. No, well, I should have took notes. There was a match early on in the night where it's like, anybody going to fucking sell it all?
Right. It probably was the Gunther match.
I believe it was. I didn't watch a lot of that one just because I couldn't care. But it was right there next to the computer while I was doing my work. All right. Anyway, so he doesn't sell the super kick very much other than he's dazed. Okay, well, normally your head's off and you're down on the ground for 3, but now you're standing there. Ooh, okay. Here comes the second one. Bam. Ooh. Now here comes the double super kick. Ducks out of the way, completely coherent, and double kick, super kick to the face of their brother Solo Sikoa, who is, of course, out cold.
Right.
Roman sees all that.
Yeah, because at this point, Roman was outside the ring.
Yep, he's outside the ring on one knee, looking in the ring like, what in the fuck? And he comes in the ring and he ain't happy. And he is shoving Usos all over the place. Pie facing, shoving back. And then, great job on the camera because you didn't see it until it happened. You didn't see the windup. You only saw the kick. From screen right, bam, right in the face. And down goes the tribal chief. And the look, and that was Jimmy. So Jay is standing there with this look of like, what'd you do? Like from Tommy Boy.
Right.
You know? And he's like, that's it, man. I'm doing what you should have done, man. This is it. He using us and this. And I'm like, oh, this shit's getting real here.
I got you.
Got the popcorn going down. And let's see. This is what we've been waiting for right here. And then Roman coming back up. And next thing you know, there's another one. And shit is just all over the place at this point. And then, of course, they come in, double team Solo, get the 1, 2, 3. Roman is left outside the ring with this look of what the fuck happened to my castle.
Right.
My house of cards is coming down, looking up at Sammy, who's holding the titles over him from the top rope. And you got the Usos in the aisleway. And there's a party on Friday night that I want to attend.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, the last 2 matches apparently made this a really good show because I don't think I liked any of the other matches. I only liked like the Asuka outcome. And that's it. I didn't like any of the other matches really. I just thought they were okay at best. But I liked the show because of the last 2.
Yeah. And like I told you, I said, I really didn't think that they would pull the trigger on the implosion today. But the way they did it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, they blamed Dom for the distraction early on, which was also stupid as hell. Again, that match just didn't come close to living up to what I thought it would be. What we got here? Kevin Davis in the house. How was the Seth Rollins AJ match? For me, it was just average. It was 3. I give it 3 stars. Nothing to write home about.
Right.
It was okay. But it was also
it accomplished what it needed to accomplish.
Yeah, bare minimum, but yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I don't know that it was the best match, although I thought it was a good one. But from a storytelling, I mean, yeah, that was the whole thing.
Right.
That's what you're going to be remembering from this show is that.
That's what I retweeted out 3 or 4 times. So.
Yeah, you'll remember what happened in a story sense, not because there was a Steamboat Savage match.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so Neil, traditional robe. What tradition? Because, and I legitimately am not all that well versed on this, but isn't there, I mean, there's a reason Sammy wouldn't go to Saudi for all these years. And it had something to do with his Jewish heritage. Am I wrong? Isn't there something to do with Jerusalem and Saudi and historically?
And I think that was, yeah, I mean, that was always the consensus, is that he didn't feel like he'd be safe going over there.
Because he's Jewish. Am I right or wrong?
I'm trying. I've heard. I can't really say what faith he is, because I've heard a couple of different.
Well, Paul Heyman said he was Jewish.
Okay, well then.
And he would know, right?
I would say so. Yeah.
Because, during the whole bloodline thing, there was a point where, he would call him aside and when he was trying to get an audience with Roman, and it was kind of like, hey, from as one Jew to another, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if there is a historic reference to this or if he was just legitimately scared of going over there because, hey, they did almost hijack one of their planes one time. Jimmy turning Jay didn't really turn. Well, you got to leave a door open for Friday night.
Right.
For them to all be in the ring together without just automatically taking heads off. Boy, oh boy, it's going to be some shit. In all honesty, that needs to be the opening segment, and they need to let it run about 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's it. Just it's never been done before.
Give us the first hour commercial free and just have it be a ceremony.
The first hour, yeah, commercial free first hour, ceremony, fallout, family shit, and it breaks into we're having a match here tonight. Tag
that
team
would
match.
Be good.
Usos against Roman and Solo, and that takes the next hour. That's it. There's only going to be 4 people on the show tonight. I'd be
5 if you count AIM.
6 if you want the ref.
Yeah.
Superstar Sami Zayn performed Umrah. Is that what that was? Ahead of WWE United Champions event in Saudi and described it as the best experience of his life. I was thinking it might be the last experience of his life. I wasn't sure how that was all going because I didn't know what the hell he was saying.
Right.
Syria was at war with Iraq. How does that impact? If Sammy's Jewish, and I'm again legitimately thinking that means he would have ties to Jerusalem, definitely not Iraq. Is he Syrian? Oh,
again, like I said, I'm not.
Big JH right there. He's
okay.
Syrian. I'm catching up on the comments as we go. All right. Well, then if he's Syrian and Iraq, what's that got to do, though? I guess the fact that Iraq and Saudi are bed buddies.
Yeah.
Just go chiming in. I want to see what will be Solo's reaction on Friday. Good point.
Yeah.
He got a taste of a couple of Nikes, man. He's probably going to want to have something to wash that out with. Sami Zayn was wearing a thobe. A thobe. Is that the actual name or was it a typo? The majority of Arabs in Saudi wear it. Oh. So he was wearing Saudi gear.
Right.
Which I'm sure somebody already has up on Community Creations, by the way. As soon as I saw this entrance, it's like, yep, that'll be up there within the hour.
Yep.
Do I think they will do it? It would be easy to book it.
Yeah.
And it would, the way I would book it is if I'm Roman and I say, if we win, you two idiots fall in line and you understand that I am the tribal chief. And if you beat me, you can be the tribal chief and I'll go on my way. And then, of course, they would get the win to make up for the one they lost tonight. And then
right.
now you have the reluctant tag team brothers in your faction who aren't happy with having to follow your direction, but they have to because they agreed to, and that's what the family said, and you agreed to it, and our word is our bond, and whatever bullshit you want to go. So I'm still personally wanting to see nothing but the bloodline for 2 hours on Friday night. I'm telling you, it'd be the highest rated SmackDown they've ever had. And there's no way you're not going to have everyone in the world talking about it because it's never happened.
Right.
Now, this is something that would spice it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
If either or both of them would show up on Friday. You ain't got to be active in any way, shape, or form. Just get involved with the family business. Again, if you could bring The Rock in, that gives you that first hour.
Yeah.
The Rock, the Usos, Roman with mics, talking family business, talking about the history in Hawaii and this and that, and the high chief, and if he was here right now, and I mean, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, at the end of the day, I mean, they don't really do DVDs anymore, but this would have been a box set DVD, The Bloodline, right? Instead of that, you take it and you make it into a theatrical kind of thing. It doesn't even have to be the actual people. You could cast actors in this same storyline. It doesn't even have to be wrestling, though. That's my point.
Right.
It is that good that you could take this exact storyline and I guess in a way you could say it kind of is. It's got a little bit of Godfather to it.
I was about to say it's like a Polynesian mafia shit going on.
But it's that good that you would watch. If it was a 3-hour movie, you'd watch it.
Right.
So why can't we do a 2-hour one on Friday? You got the players. You got the people's attention. You know they're going to be tuning in after this.
Right.
Keep the fuckers around for 2 hours. If all you do is say later tonight the Usos, and now we're into hour 2, you know they're going to be the last thing. So now you don't got to watch it until the last 30 minutes.
Right.
But if you bring them out in the beginning and they never go off the screen, you can't leave.
Because you got to see the ending.
Somebody better let me into fucking Stanford, man. I'm getting tired of them screwing shit up when it's this easy. That's right, Hoop. One night of SmackDown with the Bloodline. That's it. Matter of fact, right there when they do the intro and you see the SmackDown logo, just have the word Bloodline, boom, right over the top of it on the screen.
Ooh, yeah.
Let everybody know it's a new day dawning. Well, I'm glad I did this review because I didn't realize how much I didn't like the card. I only liked the 2 matches at the end enough that I liked the show, which is interesting. Right. It's a very, for me, it's an eye-opening stat. It's much like you do statistics in, basketball, baseball, whatever, and you'll see a different aspect of your team that you didn't see with your eyes. You thought you did.
Right.
But then you're realizing, damn, some bitch had 20 rebounds. I only saw one who had 20 points, putting the ball in the basket. So, yeah, those 2 matches for me, again, the Cody match, I was sure he was going to lose it. Didn't care necessarily for how he lost it, only because of the way they sold it at the end, or didn't sell it at the end. If he passes out, he passes out. But if you're going to tell me he passed out from the pain, but he's sitting there going, my arm, my arm. It's like he's conscious. He certainly didn't tap out.
Right.
He didn't say, I quit. And he's not unconscious. So now if they if they decide he's unable to protect himself.
Right.
They didn't.
Yeah. Referee stoppage.
Yeah. They used to say that shit.
Yeah.
And again, I thought Brock was going to go after him after the bell was done and get a DQ after the fact. So you got your win, but then it's taken away from you by a DQ.
Yeah.
And of course, Cody wouldn't be happy with that either.
No.
Which still gives you the rubber match. What do you think they're paying these writers?
Too fucking much.
Yeah, that I'm good. I mean, anything over $15 an hour is too fucking much. But on an annual, I mean, we're talking 6 figures, right?
Has to be, yeah.
You would think, right? At least 125 Plus, they
I'd
travel
say,
and shit.
yeah, I'd say 150 at the most, probably.
I'll do it for an even 100.
And it'll be good shit.
I'll quit my job, and I'll do it for an even 100.
Until Vince gets a hold of the other Vince gets a hold of your scripts and he goes, "No, boy, this ain't how we do it here." Starts marking the shit up.
CSWA says the Bloodline storyline was assembled with Jay, will end with Jay. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And I like that full circle aspect of this as well.
And I kind of think that might been why. I think that kind of might be why Jimmy said what he said. This is something you should have done.
Yes.
A long time ago.
Yep. And I thought that was good that they called back on that and acknowledged that part of it.
Right.
It's been, and by the way, we didn't have a chance to even talk about SmackDown because that was just the night before. And for a pre-recorded show, I thought it was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I was surprised by it too.
Again, most of the matches, I don't even recall which ones they were, and I didn't watch a lot of them, but from the Bloodline storyline aspect of it, I thought that shit was on fire. Jimmy, I said, sit down. You want to do something? Ain't nothing changed. Remember when we were kids? I whooped your ass then, I'll whoop your ass now. I'm like, oh, this is getting real.
And then when they got to the end of the show and Jay handed the titles over and Jimmy just kept a hold of them, it's like, motherfucker, no, screw you.
He reluctantly releases him to his brother, who hands him over to Roman, and even he didn't look happy about it. Then they're doing the ones, and there's Jimmy in the corner.
Right, he had that look on his face. He's like, nope, I'm done with this shit.
And Jay's over there going, come on, man, come here.
Get over here now.
You know, fucking it up. Well, I thought it was a pretty damn good couple of days of WWE. I thought, I'll say this, I'd say all of it was better than anything I've seen out of AEW. Again, I don't watch AEW anymore, but I do see clips and shit that appears. And funny thing is, nobody ever shows me a clip of some really great wrestling.
Right.
The only clip I ever see is Moxley bleeding like he's going to die, or Jungle Boy being a quadriplegic.
A high spot gone wrong.
Yeah, man, but that Darius's leg snapping sideways. I mean, I don't ever see anyone showing good wrestling coming out of AEW.
Right.
Why? Why is that? I have a theory.
They don't know how to wrestle.
Yeah, there isn't any to show. I mean, if you're talking about the guys that have a clue, you're talking about Jericho, Danielson, Samoa Joe, they're all past their prime, and some of them way past. I mean, it is what it is. I just I'll buy the game and I'll play that. Watching that program, I can't watch it. I just can't. All right. Well, thanks for jumping on here with me. I had to talk about this a little bit based on what happened at the end, especially. And I thought the show, I thought two matches were making a good show out of it.
Made it worse sitting through the others. Let's put it that way.
The others didn't seem that bad until now, where I'm thinking back on them more, realizing there really was nothing special about this match.
Right.
I felt that way during the Trish match. That wasn't an afterthought. That happened in lifetime. And in all honesty, yeah, I'd say the other two ladies' matches also didn't feel particular. Again, I like the fact that Asuka won the title, but the match itself just didn't.
Right.
And I wonder how much of it might have had to do with the fact that they're in that environment, which is not female friendly, and they are wearing these full on body suits out of latex or whatever the fuck that shit is. I'm sure it's very breathable and comfortable to wrestle in.
Right.
I don't know. So thankful for the last two matches. I thought that definitely, that's what everyone's going to be talking about is those two matches.
Yep.
Talk about your secondary titles, though. You won that so long ago, we couldn't even remember the match.
Right.
That was back at the 1 o'clock hour. Jeez Louise. And then they did the post match with him like 5 matches later with Byron Scott in the back. And Seth Rollins. And he introduces him and all that. And Seth's like, come on, man, do it again with some stank on it. And he basically says, and the new world heavyweight champion, Seth freaking Rollins. It's like, okay, put the word new with a little emphasis. Oh, Lord.
Can't make this shit up.
No, there was a lot of hype about the fact that LA Knight has really been getting the fans' attention more and more, and the fans are definitely wanting LA Knight. There was somebody who had said they thought they were going to try and work a match in for him. That didn't happen. He was sitting ringside. Almost was there ringside at a little moment. Makes you wonder why they flew him all the way over there if you're not going to use him.
Maybe they did some PR stuff earlier in the day.
Yeah. And Saudi Arabia to be freaking doing PR shit.
But I will say this: I will go on record right here and now saying LA Knight wins the Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah, I mean I think his time is here, and they need to make what the old saying is: you got to make hay while it's there.
Yeah,
he not a young guy.
No,
he's like 37, 38 years old.
Yeah, because he was an Impact in the Independents and NWA for quite a while before he even made it to NXT.
Right. And then you've been burying him for the last 2 years. So at this age, you might get 2 or 3 year run out of him, barring, God forbid, injuries or anything. So we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him come away with that. Just got to hope to God. I mean, he can't afford the injury bug.
No.
He doesn't have a year of rehab to deal with. I mean, he's got to make sure he's got to be good.
Yep.
All right. Well, listen, boys and girls and children of all ages, thank you for stopping by and checking us out. This has been another exciting episode of WrestleChat. We'll be back with some more stuff. I might be going on with my version of Night of Champions a little bit later on, so look for that. We'll have some other stuff I got to do, but if I have time, I want to do that tonight. And then tomorrow, we've got some HCW action coming your way as well. So all that and plenty more right here on the Nation Network. Say goodnight, Jay.
Good night, Jay.
I'll see you guys soon.